Hello. Um, I am just making my food. I'm on my chow break for lunch, and I'm gonna be making some. Well, I already made it technically. This is like my meal prep food. I have these Gardein vegetarian, maybe vegan, porkless bites, and then I added some sugar-free barbecue sauce to it, and then I have like either basmati, I don't know how you say it, but basically like jasmine rice. I think it's pretty much the same thing. I might be wrong, but it's like the fluffy like white rice. It's really good. So I got my protein and my carbs. So I'm just gonna heat this bad boy up and lay down, relax a little bit, and then that's a nice microwave. Yeah, so I'm just gonna like lay down and relax a little bit and enjoy my food before I have to go back to work. Yeah, what are you guys up to today? I'm just kind of like, I don't know. I'm just kind of going through my freaking day, I guess. Better angle, I guess. Yeah, I'm like kind of bored. It is 11:20 on Tuesday here in Okinawa, Japan. It's kind of decent weather outside. It's super humid though. Like the humidity is so bad here. But freaking, if you go to like mainland Japan, it's a hell of a lot cooler. I have only been to mainland Japan once. I went for my birthday last year, November, and I had a blast. I got myself a limo. I just went by myself, so I met like a lot of really cool people. Got myself a limo. Met some people from like England and Australia, Bangladesh, and there was a girl who her dad is actually like a famous wrestler, Jake the Snake. I don't know if any of you guys know who that is, but so yeah, it's pretty cool. And they all like, they got like a bottle of champagne and like gave me a champagne shower. So if you don't know what that is, it's like you shake a bottle of champagne, open it, you like pop the cork, and then you just like spray it all over somebody. So that was my first champagne shower. They did it at midnight when it turns midnight for my birthday, so that was really cool. I also got to go to like the VIP areas in a lot of the clubs that I went to, which was super dope. I guess I just got like really lucky and met the right people. But it was really freaking awesome. I really can't wait until COVID goes away so I can go back to like going to like bars and clubs and stuff, and like I don't know, like you would think that my like party phase would have ended by now because I'm 24. However, yeah, I've been partying since I was like 12, 13 years old. And I don't think that necessarily makes you like immature or a bad person or anything like that. I like to think of myself as a pretty mature person. But I don't know, sometimes it's just nice to let loose and have fun and like go dancing and like meet new people. I'm definitely an introverted extrovert, so like I love to socialize, but like deep down I really truly love to just be alone and like just enjoy my solace. So I don't know, what do you guys like? Do you guys think of yourselves as more extroverts or introverts? I'm curious, because I don't know, like some people are just positive that they're introverts, somewhere they lean more towards being extroverts, and some think they're introverted extroverts, some think they're extroverted introverts. Like I said, I think of myself as an introverted extrovert, because at my core I'm an introverted person. However, I am always, always, always socializing, like everywhere I go. I think with the assistance of coffee. So I think maturity. There's a lot of different factors that kind of go into that. I think it's, part of it goes into deciding when like somebody else, makes a big deal out of a situation, or like they're lacking maturity. Part of it is not stooping down to that level. Either deciding like, how to go about it, if you're gonna like react to it, or are you going to not let it affect you because like it doesn't matter like what they think. I do believe though in certain situations you should absolutely worry about like your reputation and stuff, especially if it affects your career. But freaking overall maturity is just, trying to like have like a positive mindset, being professional, and having like an open mind. I think having an open mind is probably like the biggest aspect of being mature. 1 second, guys, I'm gonna grab my food. Yeah, so freaking, yeah, I don't know. I think everybody can also kind of have their own definition of maturity, but that's just kind of how I look at it. I think people's life experiences too kind of play a big role in how mature somebody actually is. So like obviously I'm in the military, right? There are a lot of people who join the military like right outside of high school, and don't get me wrong, some of them are like phenomenal Marines, very respectful and professional and mature, but a good portion of them never really experienced life outside of high school, and then they go right into the military and they kind of just bring all that bullshit with them into the military, and it's kind of like an endless cycle. I joined a little bit later. I went to like college and stuff first, so I feel like a lot of the life experience that I had definitely helped shape me into a more mature person, because I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I was a shithead growing up. Like I was awful, like super just an angry kid, over dramatic for sure. I took things way too personally, and so that's another thing, is how you perceive things and how you react to things. It's different, and that also kind of plays a role into it. Like something can like offend you and upset you, but ultimately, or like you can even have like really like bad thoughts, like immature thoughts. By the end of the day, it all comes down to your actions. Like, are you gonna act on those negative thoughts or ideas or actions that like form in your head, or are you going to take the high road? So yeah, now I'm just mixing my what's it called, fucking porkless bites in my rice. See, I hate that saying, perception is reality. I hate it, because yeah, it's like the most common term in the Marine Corps, but I don't agree with it whatsoever. Just because you perceive something does not make it true whatsoever. I think people definitely need to, I think that's another part of being mature, is taking the time to hear like the actual story instead of just making assumptions. Making assumptions does not make you an adult. It makes you, I think it's very childish if you just make an assumption about something without trying to figure out like the entire situation or scenario. But that's just me. I like to give people the benefit of the doubt. And that's not to say that I'm like always like trusting everybody. I do definitely have issues with trusting people, but at the same time, I know everybody comes from like different backgrounds and things, and I know from my own personal experiences, things aren't always what they seem. Yeah, I agree. I think people absolutely make perception with fucking perspective, because perspective is essentially just another idea that somebody has. That's part of like being open-minded. However, like perception is like what you kind of just assume something is. Like you think something is that way, and you just automatically roll with what that is. So it's a point of view. Perception's more a point of view. Perspective is an idea that you get from your own personal experiences. I think perception is more like outside looking into somebody else's life, if that makes sense. I need to get some water. Oh my gosh, my throat is really dry. My water bottle. Isn't this cute? It's a freaking milk carton water bottle. Kind of tastes like soap though, because I washed it recently. So delicious. Super clean water. Yeah, so what are you guys up to today? Where are you all from? Tell me a little bit about yourselves. I'm curious. This is y'all's time to shine. Especially because I'm trying to eat here, so I can read y'all's comments while I eat. Vinegar water? That's interesting. It's actually, yeah, I might try that. I've never heard of that. I'm always open to freaking new little nifty tips. What other life hacks do you have? Because I feel like you probably have a couple different ones. You didn't see that. That's fair. Should not have had a job at a corner store yet. Oh, you mean like they lack the common sense to have a regular job? Yeah. Welcome to the Marine Corps. Damn. That's pretty harsh. But I definitely know where you're coming from. Freaking, we're plenty of idiots. I mean, that's why people are always making jokes about like Marines and eating crayons and shit like that. Okay, maybe not. I'm trying to find a good way to set this up. This works. This is Heaven. What's up, Heaven? Do you ever get any training on cultural interactions? Yeah, so actually when you first get to the island, you go through this process. You go to JRC and basically they teach you all about the culture, like the environment too, because there's like wildlife out here that you need to be careful around, like deadly wildlife, like hobby snakes, for example, as well as like sea creatures, because scuba diving is like super popular out here. But yeah, they'll teach us about the culture as well, like what's respectful, what's considered disrespectful, things like that. So that literally happens like your first week arriving to Okinawa. Got any spicy army stories, bro? I'm gonna have to say no, because I'm not in the army, I'm in the Marine Corps. Yeah, I mean, freaking, if anyone doesn't know what something I'm talking about is, like, feel free to ask so I can elaborate. But I mean, most people who see Okinawa on Twitch are probably in the military or have like military experience. If not, like I said, I can elaborate. But if most of my viewers are in the military, then there's no need to like go into detail about things I already know. But I see what you're saying. But if there is anyone on here that doesn't know, JRC is basically like a joint like reception center, and it's just you get picked up from the airport by other Marines, and then freaking yes, there's a difference between the Army and the Marine Corps. You should look up Marine Corps on Google. Freaking what's it called? Totally lost my train of thought. But yeah. Spicy Marine stories then. I mean, I guess it depends on what you consider spicy. I've never killed anyone because I haven't ever been in like a combative environment. Like, I haven't deployed to like the Middle East or anything like that. Like, Japan's actually my first time being outside of the country. I would love to go to the Middle East and actually like do something to make a difference over there. Freaking, I'm trying to think though. I mean, barracks parties used to be pretty lit before COVID was the thing. When people say like Marines drink a lot, like they're not kidding. We drink a lot. Like, I'll show you guys my freezer. I have like fucking like 4 or 5 bottles in there. It's literally just all alcohol. And no, I don't think that makes me an alcoholic. Oh shit, it's not the right way. There we go. Okay, yeah. No, I don't think drinking a lot makes me an alcoholic. For those of you that are probably thinking, wow, she's an alcoholic. Um, I just like getting creative with like making like different cocktails and stuff that I just like to make up. But yeah, good portion of Marines drink a lot because it does get pretty stressful at times. Whether you're in combat or not, like you still kind of get treated like dog shit, depending on like how your unit is. So I don't know. I think honestly, when you're in a job field like an MOS, that isn't constantly like in the field or, I don't know, like shooting a lot, doing like grunt type things, you have too much time on your hands to like think and like talk about like irrelevant things, and it really creates a deficit in camaraderie, I think. At least that's my experience. What are your favorite booze? I love whiskey. I'm huge on like whiskey and freaking yeah, pretty much whiskey. I like whiskey, like scotch, freaking specifically. My go-to is like Jack Honey because I do like sweet things. But whiskey just goes down so smooth to me. But if I'm like making a mixed drink, I'll probably do something with like triple sec, Malibu, cranberry juice, sweet and sour, and maybe like a splash of pineapple or grenadine or something. No, I'm talking about drinking it straight up. How many push-ups can I do? I don't know. We don't really focus on push-ups that much because we do pull-ups more than we do push-ups. But I think at this point I could probably do like 8 or 9 pull-ups. I mean, but if you think about it, as far as like the teamwork aspect, I'm more of like a lone wolf too. So I get what you're saying, but there's definitely MOSs, which is military occupational specialty. Oh my gosh, which is like what specific job you have within the military. There's plenty of MOSs that don't require to be around people very much, or you could even get like TAD to like the company office where you just work with like a handful of higher ups and not a bunch of like of your peers and stuff, like people that are like younger and probably less mature. What am I eating? So I'm eating like rice with some vegetarian like meat, like mock meat. It's like they're called beefless tips, and I added like a sugar-free like sweet barbecue sauce to it. Do men and women have different standards? Yes, they do, because our body composition is different, our bone structure is different, so the standards are different unless you are in special forces or like some type of like infantry. So if you're in one of those units, like if that's your job, everything has to be the same due to basically the job requirements. Because as far as the rest of the military that's not infantry or special forces, it's not entirely necessary for us to have to like break our bodies to try and like work that much harder to keep up with the male standards. Like our bodies are just different. Is what it comes down to. Like I broke my hip in boot camp. I know a ton of other females that have broken their hips. It sucks, but it is what it is. Yeah. But yeah, so like I was saying, like there's a lot of jobs that it's just not necessary because like for my job, for example, I work in an office. Typically, I work in an office. I pay the Marines. I'm the one that figures out how much they need to get paid, and I pay them. So, super long time ago, I took the ASVAB and scored really high, so they kept pestering me for like 5 years to sign up. I thought about doing EOD or combat engineer, but decided against it. So, you wanted to do EOD or combat engineer? Let's see. What are you doing now then, since you ended up not joining? Because honestly, I'm considering moving out of my MOS to a new one. I was thinking of actually being an EOD Tech 2. And for those of you who don't know what that is, it's like the people who detonate bombs or like, well, disarm them. Freaking, they know how to make them, take them apart, all that shit. You get paid a lot of money doing that. In and out of the military. Maybe. I mean, I'm 24 right now. What? That is such a random statement. I'm gonna do MCMAP, which is Marine Corps martial arts program. It's like a combination of like jujitsu, Krav Maga, fucking taekwondo. I don't know. It's like a combination of like a whole bunch of different fucking types of martial arts. My sister does jujitsu though, and her husband. Nice. What kind of company are you trying to start? That's cool. I'm actually working on finishing my bachelor's. I only have my associates right now though. But I'm majoring in finance and computer science with a minor in cybersecurity. No. Well, please stop looking at me then. Well, then you better just subscribe. Subscribe or get blocked. I think that's fair. I really wish my motorcycle was fixed. I hate freaking relying on people for rides. What's the program that you're referring to? I'm actually interested. So, I'm gonna like do like a complete 360 and I guess 180. I don't fucking know how the term goes. But I'm gonna change the topic a lot. Some of you might not like it or have like very strong opinions about it, but I think it's important to talk about. So, I want to know your view on racism in America. Do you think it's an issue? Why or why not? What do you think the problem is? Where do you stand on it? How do you feel about like Black Lives Matter and all that stuff? So I'm gonna tell you guys right now. So I'm for Black Lives Matter because it's not stating that everybody else's lives don't matter, and I think that's what a lot of people don't get. It's important because they've been treated like they don't matter for so long. I'm specifically talking about African Americans and Latinos, especially in America. Pretty much anyone of color, like brown, black, whatever. White privilege is absolutely a real thing. It's not noticeable for those of us that are white because we don't get treated like shit because of what we look like. That's what the privilege is exactly. Freaking, as far as like the rioting, I understand it. I can understand why a lot of people would get pissed about like things getting destroyed, but it's because people are fucking pissed. So just because there's not any laws that put minorities down doesn't mean they aren't being discriminated against. Think about it like this, like for like jobs and things like that, a lot of people that are interviewing individuals for a certain position tend to be more favorable towards people with lighter skin tones, like myself, as opposed to people who have darker complexion, even if they have the same qualifications, or even better sometimes. So, do you really think Black Lives Matter is about? Yeah, I mean, I honestly think it is. Constructive racism, way of manipulating. Obtain power, well, I think maybe some people do. Okay, Black Lives Matter, really about Black Lives. Yeah, honestly, I think it is. I think maybe things like about the past shouldn't get continuously brought up about the past, but I understand why it's brought up, just because history does repeat itself if it doesn't get checked. As far as manipulating the socioeconomic situations for like wealth and power and all that. Um, Freaking no, I'm glad you guys are bringing up your thoughts and ideas and stuff. Um, I think maybe some people do. Like, it's kind of in human nature to work on self interest. For some people that have like a business mindset, yeah, absolutely, they very well could be manipulating it. But there's a lot of people who just want to have the same basic, you know, human rights that a lot of white people do. And I agree with that. Like, I don't understand why somebody who has a darker skin tone than me gets treated like shit and I get treated like better. It doesn't make sense. I get why like certain demographics, certain races and things like that can freaking trigger some people to make assumptions about somebody. That's also kind of in human nature, is to judge each other. However, those of us that are mature freaking have a little bit more like self-awareness and empathy, and know that just because somebody is a certain race or a certain religion or whatever it may be, it doesn't mean you should automatically put them in this box. Like, kind of like how a lot of people assume that certain like black people are in gangs or like do drugs or things like that, and then they bring up the argument, oh well, black on black crime is like higher. I mean, that's for any race though. Like, white on white crime is also higher than freaking anybody else killing white people. Like, it's just how it is with all races, because most races tend to be in the same kind of community, if that makes sense. Covering about the 1-year-old that got shot recently, or the retired black officer that so the thing about media, you really can't rely on American media, because there's always a lot of freaking bias. What I implore you guys to do your own research. Find reliable sources on websites that aren't skewed towards like certain like political viewpoints, and then freaking also look at news sources that aren't from Americans. Look at outside news sources from other countries about America, so that you can get different perspectives on the whole situation. I'm not saying anybody here is right or wrong. I just think this is a topic that makes a lot of people uncomfortable, and I think that's why more people need to discuss it. Problems of racism and nationalism arise from a sociological evolutionary perspective that groups succeed best when everyone in the group falls in us versus them. Media. I think it depends on like what media. Okay, so fucking theorize. Sorry, like the fucking thing is on my phone. It's super tiny writing. I mean, yeah, like sure, like sociology plays in a big like role in a lot of this as well, but things are always changing. A lot of the ideas that we grew up with thinking was acceptable, a lot of those people are older and they're dying out. Like, the world is going to change whether you like it or not. Some may view it as like for the better, because more people are getting treated like humans, or should be anyways. Some people don't like it because they feel like it takes away the power that they have over other minorities. I had to watch and read news sources from Germany and Japan. So, okay. Kelly Milking, I think that's your name. So, the thing with what you're saying is you are making very, like, bold, direct assumptions and generalizations. Um, yeah, so I am from the South, so I often have to remind myself sometimes I might not have that are trained into me. Yeah, I mean, I grew up and honestly, so I don't have a relationship with my parents, but I'm pretty sure like they were fairly racist, and that kind of rubbed off on me when I was younger. But I've grown and educated since then, and like I know that that's not acceptable behavior. It's not acceptable to have like those types of like thoughts against an entire like race of people, like an entire demographic. Um, Bottom line, like at the end of the day, how everyone needs to look at it is we're all human beings, and we need to stop making generalizations, and we need to stop making generalizations about everyone, and we need to stop worrying about what people do in the bedroom too. So like, the homophobia that goes around, so the sexism, the racism, like treat everybody the same. Like, actually, I take that back. Freaking treat everyone equally, because equally does not always mean that it's going to be identical. Like how we're discussing the female standards and male standards in the military for like physical fitness. The standards are equal because they cater to male body composition, male body parts, and then the female standards cater towards female body parts and composition. So it's equal, but it's not the same. And then as far as like the protests being like mostly like white people, see that's the issue actually. There's a lot of white people that are trying to make like African Americans look bad by starting a lot of these riots and then blaming it on them. I've seen like speaking out, but that's the thing is like you've seen a couple black people speaking out against it, but also ask yourself this, like are some of these black people that you're referring to, are they in positions of power? Do they have money and wealth and fame? Because if that's the case, what they're trying to do essentially is appease to other people of power, which predominantly happens to be white. So of course they're gonna detest the movement publicly because they want to have allies. It's just a tactic to survival, really. Yeah, I mean that's pretty much like all I have to say about all that. But yeah, I mean, but you also have to realize just because they're normal citizens, it doesn't mean they're educated either. That's the whole point of like talking about it and bringing it up and seeing other viewpoints and things, because sometimes people just need to become more educated in order to understand things a little bit better and be more accepting of other people. But dang, there was another topic I wanted to talk about. What was it? Because we've been talking about a lot of these topics today actually at Corporal's course. I cannot tell you that, honestly. I don't know. I don't even know if that's a fact, to be honest. If you have, like, actual stats on that, like, please feel free to share, but I've never necessarily heard that to be true. Yeah, and, like, that's kind of, like, what I'm essentially saying, too. I don't know. I treat pretty much everybody the same. Like, of course, like, there's gonna be people I don't like, people I do like, but it has nothing to do with, like, their gender or their their sexual orientation or what they look like. I really don't give two shits what people look like. Honestly, if you guys